Okay, I'm sure by now you've seen video after video, maybe even face to face, you've seen this. This is a video coming off of a flight for Spirit Airlines of people refusing to wear masks. So this one particular passenger got kicked off the plane and law enforcement had to step in and handle the situation. So what do you do? Maybe law enforcement's not around, or maybe you're just in a store and someone's not wearing a mask. What do you do? Do you say something? Do you feel safe saying something? So we're bringing in Carol Barks, who is an expert on neuroscience and conflict resolution. So thank you for talking about this with us. This one, though, I have to admit, it seems like a hard topic to de-escalate because people feel so very strongly, no matter which side of, masks they're on. So I'm wondering what you suggest, because a lot of these situations are between strangers and it's only just a moment. So how do you create an environment where it's not hostile?
Those are all great questions. And it is such a difficult conversation indeed, because we are really polarized. And anytime we're really polarized, it's harder to make great conversations happen. So the first thing that I would recommend people do is assess their situation and see what it is that they need to do. Is this somebody that is just a one and done and they're going to be out of the way soon? I would always urge people to start on the lowest level. So if there's somebody that's not wearing a mask and you're never going to see them again, maybe you just avoid that person. If you're at a pace of business that's not really using masks the way you think, maybe you don't go back to that place of business for a while. Maybe you talk to the management. Maybe you have to see that person more often. And in those types of cases, you might need to have a conversation. But the thing that we're doing wrong, regardless of what side of the issue we are at, is we're talking to people and or not to them, we're talking at them. And so whenever we talk at people and demand for them to do things, we shut down the other person's brain and they can't hear us. And because our brains are largely driven by unconscious information, it's hard to hear people who have differing views than us anyway. So the trick is to really channel Gandhi or Mother Teresa or that reason voice of peace, so that you can actually kindly make a call for somebody to perhaps put a mask back on.
So this is that's advice for, what, I'm in a store, I'm never going to see, Bobby again, so why make an issue out of it? But what if it is someone that you do have to see more frequently? Or what if it's maybe you're at work, or it's a store that you go to all the time? Well, who do you talk to then? I mean, is it worth talking to someone then?
So say it's your coworker and it's somebody that you're going to see regularly, then a conversation becomes much more appropriate because you're having repeated exposure to this same circumstance. So in those types of situations, you really want to use a lot of empathy and actually explore more. You already know what your view on the situation is, but now you want to learn what the other person's view is on that circumstance. And then once you actually listen to that person, we find that people end up getting diffused more than they would be if we just started spewing our position onto them. And then from there, we can actually do a plea for some sort of grace or kindness. Could you please wear this mask because I'm at risk or my family's at risk or because it's concerning to me? So instead of making demands of risk of masks are terrible or masks are great, instead of changing that conversation to what it is that we are trying to accomplish, can sometimes find the commonality that can get us through that tough spot. And that often can be the game changer. Another thing that people are really doing that I want to remind them is that early on in our COVID virus experience, we were getting a lot of mixed messages about masks. And science is moving really, really fast right now. And the really important part of science is that we want to be able to actually repeat information more than one time to decide if it's valid science. So we may have had a great idea months ago that we now have found isn't such a great idea, but people are still hanging on to outdated knowledge. So it's important for people to realize that bad science can sound really convincing, just like good science can. So people should do their research and dig a little deeper and be open-minded to exploring the realities. Right now, our reality is that science has fleshed out even more that masks are really critical. So if I'm having that conversation,
Go with the latest.
yes,
Go with the latest information,
Go with
right?
the
Okay,
latest.
thank you. And also, I would say to use your tone of voice if we're able to. You're very soothing, very calming, where I think like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for Carol. Thank you so much. We appreciate having you.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
me.
You know what? I'll work on that.